The most annoying thing about the internet is that everyone assumes you are from the US or know everything about the US all the time. As a British guy, I shouldn't have to know everything about the US or have to introduce myself as the British guy every time I talk to someone online. I also don't want to be treated like some mystical being from lands afar just because I speak a little differently. The internet, unless you are playing a game where you can pick the server location, is a worldwide thing that isn't based in one location. It can be used by anybody. Most people on the internet aren't even from the US, and my biggest pet peeve through all this has to be when Americans say the world but really just mean the US. The world is all countries, not just all the states. My favorite is when people call every black person they see African American when that person might actually be British/Canadian/ maybe even from an African country. The worst part of the internet being based around the USA is the fact that every single other country in the world uses a different date format. When a site lists a date like June 7, 2020, you have to do a lookup to see if the site is based in the USA or not, just to see whether it's happening in June or July. I don't know how many times I've been roasted with LOL it's Saturday night, why are you online, loser? It's Sunday afternoon. You do realize there's a thing called time zones and the internet is a worldwide phenomenon, right? I really hate it when I see a post titled like "This country is a mess" for example, and it's obviously the US, but nowhere in the post does it explicitly say it is. It's also quite annoying when people use US statistics to describe global problems, e.g. 300,000 people die in the US every year to obesity-related problems, so the world must live in a healthier way to change this. I'm from Germany, that number has no significance to me and isn't expandable to global issues. Use the global count, if you want to argue in a global/continental context. This also applies to continental scale. Of course, you can't just use the US numbers and describe North America, because, Canada exists. I agree, and it is even more annoying when Americans say you should learn about us, when some of them have no idea about us. Ask someone on the internet where they are from and non-Americans tell you their country. Americans just mention their state. That's it. No, I'm from America, like we all should know American geography. I'm Australian and have started responding to Americans with my state, just to be petty, I suppose. You missed out the best part. If you proactively point out you're a Brit, or Aussie in my case, you'll be attacked for that too because no one cares. But yeah, the "what state are you in" taking precedence over "what country are you in" is the worst. I'm British too, and I get annoyed if I find online general knowledge quizzes and stuff and it comes up with all this American-centered knowledge. Nope, I'm lost on American football and baseball or whatever. It's hard for this not to be validated when half the posts on Reddit in the last week have been international BLM protests. I'm American and I see what you mean. I'll comment about something not mentioning where I'm from and they'll respond to me with an example from America. It's weird because how would they know I'm American if I haven't told them? Third world gang, rise up. I shit you not, I've literally had people comment on my posts or comments, and correct me saying mum to mom, like, my guy, are you that America-centric? I agree. As a Canadian American and Canadian culture are very similar, however many people assume that everyone knows American history. It can be frustrating. I am the Asian. Yes, thank you. Every time I get into an argument about feminism I get the "in America both men and women are equal." Who said I was talking about America? Not all of us are from the West. I agree, a lot of the American attitude is quite self-centered. I once got asked how I felt when at school I had to learn about American and how they won independence over us and how great America is. I had to explain that we don't learn about that, as why would we learn about a battle we lost when there are so many more we won? If anything, the British education system is against the US. When we learn about World War II, American is portrayed as the ones who join right at the end of the war and then act as if no one could have won the war without them. It's also annoying when people assume you live in a first world country just like them and thinks they have it worse in their country. Actually, that annoys me a bit sometimes as well. Many people here will easily assume you're from the US when you don't explicitly state where you are actually from, and will automatically apply what you're saying to the US. I don't want to be that "I hate the US" kinda person, because I'm not. It's an interesting country, but it's kind of annoying people always seem to forget that the world is bigger than just the US and that many Reddit users are actually not American. Be humble. And / or that you are a native English speaker. I also don't want to be treated like some mystical being from lands afar just because I speak a little differently. Wait, so that's bad? You're not a mystical being from lands afar? Just checking. I feel you. I've watched some videos from Asian Boss, a YouTube channel about Asia and especially East Asia, and in these videos, when people are talking about the West, they're only referring to the United States. That's super frustrating when you're not American. Ikra, I am an Asian, and I don't know half the shit that's happening. Hell, I didn't know who Kobe Bryant was until he died and was shown online. As an Australian, I completely agree. I've seen other Australians and non-US Redditors talking about leaving their houses during COVID and have been attacked by US Redditors demanding why they are leaving their homes and putting everyone at risk. Not everything revolves around the US, and I don't know why this is the norm. I hate how they use Europe as a catch-all term, like when I was in Europe. It's a massive continent filled with all sorts of countries, cultures, and languages. Where were you, mate? Milan or Wolverhampton? For real? Remember how it started on AIM? AS/L? Sometimes even before hello. Agreed, although the place this happens most with me is Reddit, but maybe that's because this is the only place I attempt to communicate with people. I have to elaborately explain to Americans why non-Americans are allowed to have fucking opinions several fucking times, every fucking thread I comment on. Like, shit, mate. Given how blind you are to your own country's problems and how unwilling you are to do anything about them, maybe you should be the one shutting your mouth.